Charlie Hedge is beginning the challenge of a lifetime. A solo hike in the Sierra Nevada mountains. With his 50th birthday approaching, he's out to prove he's still got what it takes to survive alone in the wilderness.
I love the solitude, I love nature, I love the outdoors. It's something I always wanted to do. Considered myself being somewhat self-sufficient. And so I think I kind of went up there alone in an attempt to prove that to myself, I think.
Charlie has hiked in the mountains many times before, but always with friends. He knows that going alone will be his toughest challenge yet.
I'm not getting any younger, and I'm not as in good a shape as I used to be, and I just wanted to get lost for a week, walk away my worries.
Charlie's long-term girlfriend of 7 years, Julie, knows what this solo trip means to him.
Charlie has spent a lot of time, I think, on his own and alone. He likes to go and do things by himself. He got this wild hair, this idea that he really wanted to go and do this. And I knew that there was no stopping him.
I remember we hugged and kissed. She wished me luck, told me to be careful, told me she loved me, and I told her the same.
He's a big kid. Charlie's a big kid.
In September, conditions in the Sierra Nevada mountains can change instantly and dramatically. But in his enthusiasm to get going, Charlie ignored weather warnings. By early evening, a fierce wind blows in, and his peace is shattered.
Wednesday night, the wind started picking up. And that's the first time I really felt exposed. You know you're alone, the wind's picking up, you're not sleeping, you're wondering, this isn't any fun, you know? I really became concerned for the first time Thursday when it really started to snow and the wind was just howling.
The wind becomes a vicious snowstorm, and Charlie hunkers down for the night, hoping it will pass.
When I woke up, pretty much snow everywhere. Woo! I got up and literally I was half buried in snow. But the weather was kind of breaking.
Although the skies are clearing, the new snow has transformed the landscape. Navigating the route ahead will be a formidable task.
At that point, there's really no trail. And if there was, it was buried in snow. I've been up there before years ago, and it just did not look familiar. The weather should be better down there, certainly. So I dug the snow out, packed everything up, headed up to the pass.
Charlie struggles on for 2 hours, but hiking blind across the snowdrifts, he's way out of his depth.
It was just very tough. I realized that I might have made a mistake proceeding. But my rationality tried to overtake me, and I told myself, you'll be okay.
Having committed himself to going forward, Charlie continues on over the hazardous pass. But here, the terrain is perilous, and now the weather takes another dramatic turn for the worse.
It really started to snow, and the wind was just howling. It was just blowing in my face.
Despite the worsening conditions, Charlie is determined to complete his ambitious hike. But as the raging blizzard intensifies, he starts to realize that he's in over his head.
While I was thinking what to do, my face is getting all cold from the wind, and I remember just turning around with the wind at my back. I don't remember tripping. I don't remember flying through the air. I just remember I hit my head. I don't know how far I fell, but it had to be 30, 40 feet at a time. You have no control. You just hope you land and survive.
Charlie helplessly plummets to certain death. But a rock ledge, jutting out of the cliff face, breaks his fall and saves his life.
I was in such a confined space, there was no room to move. The ground was hard. I couldn't stake it into place and pull it tight like you would normally do. So I finally got in my bag and rubbed myself, tried to get warm and dry off. I distinctly remember, for one split second, realizing how lucky I was to survive. I kind of got warm. I kind of gained my senses a little bit. And I thought, well, I got a cell phone, I could try that.
Okay. Hello.
We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed. Please call your operator to help you.
And of course, it didn't work. Beep, beep, beep. Because of the lack of the signal.
No. Oh, no.
I became very despondent because I knew at that point there's no way I'm gonna ever reach anybody from the outside world.
Isolated and trapped on the ledge, Charlie is in urgent need of medical attention. Worse still, he isn't due to finish his hike until Saturday, in a day's time. Until then, no one will even suspect he's in trouble. Charlie survives a second torturous night without sleep. But after 48 hours trapped and critically injured, he's desperately weak and is starting to suffer the effects of dehydration.
You stop urinating, your mouth becomes dry. I knew I had to melt snow in the morning and melt snow in the evening, but I only could do it at those times because I only had limited fuel.
In the freezing cold, lighting the stove is already an awkward process. But with Charlie's shattered wrist and suffering a concussion from the blow to his head, it's become a potentially lethal mission.
In trying to light the stove, I spilled a little bit of gas, and so I mopped it up with my bandana. finally did light the stove. The gas beneath lit on fire. So I grabbed my bandana, which was already wet with gas, in an attempt to put it out. That lit on fire, burnt my hands. I released it, and it started my tent on fire.
The fire has burnt the last of his fuel. His only way to produce water trapped on a tiny ledge, hundreds of feet high on a sheer rock face.
I had this little map that I jotted notes on the back. It was like, you know, a little journal, so to speak. I recall noting that it was probably the worst day of my life. I started thinking about being home, being with Julie. I wanted to get back to normality, you know?
My focus was wondering what he was going through and how he was feeling. I was safe. My main concern was always Charlie and what he was going through, what he could be potentially experiencing.
I was really down at that point because I knew I might not make it out unless somebody comes find me. I knew I was lost. I knew I couldn't go anywhere.
Pinned to an icy ledge, Charlie Hench realizes that rescuers are looking for him in the wrong place and may never find him. He must take action, or surely die. His only choice is to attempt to scale the sheer rock face, despite his injuries.
I went into panic mode, thinking, if I'm gonna survive this, I gotta try and get out. I knew I couldn't go down. It was out of the question. And I kind of surveyed the landscape above me. And I said, I'll try this way, up and to the left, as I face the mountain.
But with a badly damaged spine and broken wrist, every inch Charlie climbs is agony.
My hand is broken, so it's most difficult. You're kind of hugging these rocks one-handed. It was just very tough. I made it under, around, over these humongous boulders. I scrambled over, 3 or 4 rocks. And then just, I couldn't go up anymore. Didn't know what to do, so I just sat on the rock right where I was kind of like trapped. I was trapped on an even smaller rock, and I thought I couldn't go down and couldn't go up. I was literally stuck even in a worse spot. And it was early evening, and so I didn't know what to do. And so I made the decision, well, I'm just gonna stay here. What else can I do?
Charlie's shattered wrist and weakness from dehydration make scaling the near vertical cliff face impossible. Away from the shelter of his tent, he is now totally exposed to the icy wind, and the temperature plummets.
It was just so uncomfortable. Not only could you not sleep, but you're just uncomfortable in the position you were. And I thought it was, you know, I didn't think I was gonna make it. A, I was so uncomfortable. B, they stopped looking for me. So I just laid awake all night, looked at the moon.
That was the darkest time, I'd say. I was very discouraged at that point. I did not sleep well during those nights. I thought something had happened, that I would never see Charlie again.
As the night wears on, exposed to the freezing temperatures, Charlie risks dying of hypothermia.
It was the longest night of my life. I had to stay awake all night. Didn't have to, had no choice. I wrote a few things out, you know, like a lousy attempt at a will, because I thought it was all over, and I just kind of, you know, divvied up the little things I have to people I know and love. It's an awful feeling. I hear this plane, and he's at, you know, he's above me. This guy is, you know, almost at my sight. And so I got my fishing pole with my stuff sack on, and I'm waving it.
I'm here.
And then he goes by, and I wasn't sure he saw me.
Over here.
So then he turns around, he comes like right toward me again. Wave my bag. He does the wing dip, you know, like you see on Star Wars and that. And I just thought that was the best thing that happened right there.
After nearly a week, trapped alone on a small rock ledge, Charlie Hench is finally found. Following a gut instinct, his friend Dave decided to search the far side of the mountain pass, close to where his brother was lost, one last time.
Well, it was pretty amazing. I mean, I guess Charlie could be described as a needle, and the mountain's a haystack, and I did find that needle in a haystack. I've actually been to the ledge where he was stuck, and I've been there during the summer, and it's a pretty scary place. Charlie could have been killed. My experience in that whole thing is that it turned out good. I mean, Charlie and I have quite a bond that we wouldn't have had before, and that's something pretty special.
When we got the call that they found Charlie, I mean, it was pure just elation. We both just fell apart, and you could just hear it in his voice that it was pretty traumatic. So I was just very thankful.
Ain't that a sight?
Best friends and mountaineering partners, Jim Davidson and Mike Price, are fulfilling a dream: to climb Mount Rainier, one of the highest mountains in the US.
Give me a
crazy mad day. You ready?
Let's do it, Jim.
Let's do it, bro.
The two men have been climbing together for 4 years.
I first met Mike in 1986. We were both going to Colorado State University. We had a like mind and a similar love for the mountains.
As Jim and Mike have scaled mountains all over the US, their friendship has grown deeper.
Mike had a great deal of mountaineering experience. I looked up to him as a better climber than I, more experienced.
But Mount Rainier will put their climbing partnership to the ultimate test. As they plan to scale the fearsome Liberty Ridge.
I think what excited both of us was it was going to be a step up in our friendship and our partnership.
On the third morning of their trek, they're ready for the final leg of their trip, up to the 14,000-foot summit.
Climbing fosters very intense relationships. We experience the difficulties, we experience the rewards, and you're sharing it with one person who you like and whom you trust a great deal.
For Jim, this is his toughest climbing challenge yet. But being attached to his far more experienced friend Mike means he's in safe hands.
You okay, Jim?
Oh, man. This is tough.
Just check your balance a little.
I would look at the climb and go, wow, I don't know if I can do this. It looks a little steep, a little scary.
I can't do it, bro.
Just come over a little.
And Mike would gently push me forward.
You're doing good.
I thought, well, if Mike thinks I can do it, then I probably can.
Mike's expert leadership means that their final push to the summit goes without a hitch.
Woo. Just as I pulled myself onto the ice cap, Mike was sitting down with a big grin on it.
Welcome to Liberty Cap. I don't want you thinking about a nice cool beer. Hey, you lay off.
But Jim and Mike are also aware that they must stay alert. They know that hidden just under the snow, the landscape is a minefield of cracks and gullies, the worst of which are huge crevasses.
All of the glaciers on Rainier have crevasses, these big cracks in the ice. Sometimes they're open and you can see them, and sometimes they're hidden over with snow.
And as the hours pass, the risk of crevasses increases.
The sun softens the snow, weakens the ice. It can make the route itself more likely to collapse.
But Jim knows that being attached to his friend by a rope means that if he does fall, Mike will dig in and use his body weight to save him.
They're literally holding your life in their hands.
All right. It's a little deeper here.
Okay.
And that creates a very intense bond and a very intense friendship.
It's been a close call, and Jim now realizes that real danger is lurking all around them.
I probed the ground in front of me, and it felt solid.
Take it easy now, Jim.
Yeah, we're good.
And I stepped forward and sank up to my ankle in the snow.
Whoa.
And I probed a second step. And my ice axe felt solid, so I stepped forward.
No, we're good.
My face smashed up against the snow. And I realized I wasn't going to be able to stop myself. I yelled, "Falling!" I swung my arms and legs around in the darkness. And I realized this is a big crevasse.
If Mike can't get a grip in the slushy snow, then nothing can stop them both plunging to their deaths.
seemed to progress very slowly. I had time to think about what was happening and what might happen and how we were going to land. It was just absolute sheer terror. I was tied to Mike, so I thought in another second or so the rope will get tight and catch me.
As Jim speeds downwards, he knows Mike only has a few feet left to dig in and break his fall.
I thought 10 feet, 20 feet, 40 feet. Mike should have caught me by now. I put my hand out, and I could hear how fast I was moving by the high, screaming pitch of the nylon glove dragging on the wall in the darkness. And when I swished around, it felt kind of empty, and I realized that my wrist loop had slipped off my hand. My eye sack's gone now. There's no way I can stop myself. Then my brain told me that I'd fallen 50 feet. I thought, no, that can't be right. If I'm in 50 feet, and there's 50 feet of rope between me and Mike, that means he's right at the lip of the crevasse. And I'm going so fast now, he's gonna have a heck of a time catching me. And I thought, come on, Mike, dig in, dig in. Because I knew that he was getting close to the edge. I felt the rope jerk once and then go slack. And at first I was confused. I didn't know what that meant. I was stunned for a second or two.
Jim is completely trapped and is unable to move.
I could feel the weight pushing down on my body. I can't believe it. I survived that fall, and now I'm buried alive.
He has only a tiny pocket of air around him and will suffocate in minutes.
You really can't control the fear. It just surges up. I couldn't see that I was going to be able to get out of the snow. I was probably felt truly helpless at that point. Now I just have to sit here and wait for the end of my life when my oxygen runs out.
In desperation, he summons every last atom of strength to try and find a way out.
I try to focus all my mental power and physical power in just my right hand. I pushed with all my strength just on one spot, just pushing my right arm up.
Jim has survived, but there's no sign of Mike.
Mike! Say something, buddy!
And I heard his breathing get more labored and more labored.
Mike, answer me, buddy!
I started digging at the snow faster.
Say something, buddy!
I heard Mike exhale once, and then he didn't inhale. And I thought, no. It can't be that he's not breathing. I must have just missed the sound of him inhaling and exhaling.
Mikey, stay with me, buddy. Mikey! Mikey!
I couldn't quite believe what was in front of me, but I had to accept the reality. I had to accept that he wasn't breathing, and I had to do something about it.
Stay with me, buddy! Mike!
I didn't get any response. I could just feel this surge of fear boiling up inside me. I did one more check of the pulse in his wrist and his neck and looked for breathing signs, and I saw none.
No. Come on, buddy, wake up. We're getting out of here. Come on, Mike! God damn you!
My hands started to shake and my upper body started to shake and the emotions started creeping up on me.
After 4 years and hundreds of hours climbing together, Jim has just lost his closest friend.
I just slumped my head against his chest and I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes that my friend was gone.
Jim is alone, trapped 80 feet down a colossal crevasse. And without his climbing partner, his chances of escape have gone.
Somebody help me!
Now, I didn't know what that meant. I was afraid that I had some severe internal injury.
But one of his ice axes has been lost in the fall. If he doesn't find it, he'll never make it out. As he searches around, Jim makes a terrifying discovery. He and Mike have landed on a fragile snow bridge, likely to collapse at any minute.
We weren't on the bottom of the crevasse. We were stuck partway down the crevasse.
But 10 feet below him, Jim spots something. The missing ice axe. He knows he's faced with an horrendous choice.
I'm not going deeper in this crevasse, where it's tighter, more dangerous, scary. If I go down there, I might not be able to come back up. I thought, there's no way I'm going down there. But when I thought about it, there was no other answer. I realized if I wanted any hope of climbing up, I had to go down there first. It took a lot of willpower to back over that edge and lower myself deeper into that crevasse.
A single mistake, the ice axe will be lost, and there'll be no way back for Jim.
Felt like I'd turned the tide a little bit, that now I was taking some action. I'm starting to fight back, perhaps.
But after climbing just 20 feet, Jim's adrenaline levels are falling. Each step harder than the last.
I hadn't eaten anything or drank anything in many, many hours now. And Mike and I were both exhausted from the 3.5 days of alpine climbing before the crevasse accident happened.
Weak and exhausted, Jim senses hope draining away.
I heard this little voice that, keep going. I could see him in my mind's eye just saying, you can do this.
Check your balance a little.
I felt that he was still sort of remotely coaching me, if you will.
You're doing good.
And it wasn't goodbye yet. We were still in this together.
Doing real good there, man.
Jim has to constantly climb back down to retrieve his ice screws, costing him precious time and energy. After 65 feet and hours of hell, Jim's made it to the overhang. It's the only thing standing between him and the lip of the crevasse.
I knew I was close.
But to get past it and get out alive, he must risk everything.
Now I had a severe problem. I couldn't reach past the lip.
I can't do it, bro. Just come over a little.
And I thought, I have to do it. I've got no choice.
Jim's only option is to try to haul himself over the edge of the overhang. If he makes one single mistake, he'll fall to his death.
I've made it. I've secured myself to the upper screw. And I took my ice axe off the lower screw so that I could hang onto it. I realized I had just made a huge error.
Jim has broken a climber's golden rule. He's attached himself to his chest instead of his waist.
The chest harness cinched down around my chest and squeezed the breath out of me. And some voice in my head was just screaming at me saying, it's all over. You're gonna die hanging from this ice screw. I was gasping for breaths. I would get one occasionally when I would get one ice tool in the wall. I could get a little weight off and I would get 2 breaths and then I would slip and slump back onto the sling and it would squeeze me tight again. I had to get off that ice screw.
Unless he can find one last surge of energy, Jim knows he has just seconds left to live.
And when I looked back down at our ledge, some 60 feet below me now, I realized that I was really out there on the extreme edge of what I thought climbing could even be.
Finally, having achieved what seemed impossible just a matter of hours ago. Jim knows he has only 20 feet to the top and escape.
But I was so utterly exhausted from everything I'd done. I questioned if I was going to be able to have the strength to make that final run to the surface.
After more than 5 hours and 80 grueling feet, Jim reaches the surface. But unless he can get a firm grip on the treacherously thin snow, he could easily slide back into the crevasse.
I can't believe at the very last second I'm going to fall backwards, all the way back down to where I came from. I can't believe it's going to end like this. And this emotional voice in my mind was like screaming, "Do something." And this voice was pretty confident, said, "Just lunge." I looked back where I had last seen Mike just before the fall, and I could see where he was standing, and there was a very sharp groove in the snow that proved to me that Mike had dug in as hard as he could to catch my fall. And then I untied from the rope.
By finally untying the rope that connects him to Mike, Jim knows that he has fulfilled his duty to his best friend. And Mike's family will be able to take his body home.
All that emotion that had been trapped down inside me for over 5 hours just gushed out. And I just said out loud once, "I'm alive."
Hello!
Jim's cries for help are finally heard by 2 park rangers and some volunteers.
That's when I knew that I had been seen.
I'm up here!
And that help was on its way.
Mike Price's body was recovered the following day. And, thanks to him, Jim survived with only minor injuries. But before returning home to his wife, he had one last thing he had to do.
The last day when Mike and I were climbing together, we talked about coming off the mountain, maybe having a big steak and buying a couple beers. So I went into the bar. And I ordered 2 beers. One for me, one for Mike.
Thanks.
And I sat there and drank them both.
Since the accident, Jim's never lost his love of the mountains. He now teaches new climbers to respect the power of nature. And each year, on June the 21st, Jim makes a special climb to celebrate the life and times he and his friend spent in the mountains.